Well, you might have noticed that we're not in the UK anymore, and we're not back at the boat either. We've just landed in North America, specifically in Vancouver, where we're spending the next week with my family. We're heading up to Whistler for a ski holiday, and then Victoria and I are going to spend the 3 weeks after that heading down to San Diego for Social Media Marketing World, a conference that I've been wanting to attend for ages because we like to invest in the things that are important to us. We like to educate ourselves. And we think that this conference is going to be one of the best ways that we can continue to serve people by figuring out better how to use social media and everything that goes with that. But it got me thinking about a couple other things as well. As I was out running this morning, I've seen my times drop down. I've seen my recovery rates improve. I've seen everything about running, even just the consistency with which I'm running, improving as a result of the knowledge and the learning that I've gained. And one of the things that's on our agenda whilst we're in Vancouver is to head out to UBC, the University of British Columbia campus, where I got the joy of spending a year of my undergraduate studies, probably over a decade ago now, but I just wanted to show Victoria why that year was so important to me and why this city is such a great place in my opinion. But it got me thinking about property education as well. In a lot of circles, it's a dirty word. It's something that we offer, although we've just finished a big launch of our HMO course, which feels like a perfect time because actually we don't have anything to sell just now. So I'm not talking about property education from a biased viewpoint, but I thought it'd be good to give some insights on our view of property education and where we stand with it. I kind of wanted to start off Victoria's tour here because for me it summed up part of the reason I loved UBC so much. It was nothing to do with the education, it was more to do with the lifestyle, and for me at the time of life I was in, this was perfect. You can see the sea in the background, you can see the mountains, or at least you're supposed to be able to, but a big part of Vancouver is the rain as well, so a bit of a poor start. But what got me thinking about the whole education process whilst I was out here was that this was the third university experience I'd had. I started off at Glasgow University, but I hated what I was studying and I didn't enjoy the whole experience. I then moved down to Lancaster and moved into business management degree, which was much better for what I wanted to do long term. But when I came out to UBC for an exchange year, I was just blown away by the whole experience, the lifestyle and the quality of the education as well. Now, there's nothing wrong with the two universities that I went to before I ended up here. In fact, they're both good schools, well regarded, highly ranked. And the degrees that I was studying are the same. They've both got good reputations and I could have ended up in a good job with either of them. But I think the point is, neither of them were right for me. I definitely don't think education is right for everyone either. You look at the statistics of the number of young people that government want to go through further education, and honestly I think it's a flawed plan. We don't need more philosophers and sociologists. We need people with applicable skills that are in demand in the workforce, and ironically enough we need people who can get out there and build houses. I don't think university is the answer, and at times I didn't think it was the right answer for me. Getting the timing right is a big part of the equation as well. When I first went to Glasgow I must have barely been 18 and all I was ready for then was drinking and not going to class, but a couple of years later, by the time I got here, I was in a different frame of mind and I was ready to actually focus on learning and educating myself on what I was here to do. So this was my residence for the year I lived here. It was a floor with about 30 guys on it in first and second year, first time away from home for us also. We had a lot of fun, and I think that was part of it as well, surrounding yourself with the right people in a similar frame of mind to you who, you know, you wanted to get out there and learn, but equally you were just, willing to enjoy yourself along the way. And all of these things come together when I think you're looking at education to add to the whole experience. This weather is garbage though. We did not come here for the rain, we came here for the snow. So let's get up the mountain and we shall continue our discussion. Well, that's better. We've just completed our epic drive up the mountain, back in my happy place and time to get skiing. But let's continue this conversation about education whilst we are here, because there is no better place to get educated, or no bigger sign of people who aren't educated, than on the mountains and the ski slopes. Plenty of people get by and do just fine without any education at all, and if that's the case then fantastic. It's definitely not something that is essential to success, but it can help you get there a little bit quicker. You could be going along making good progress in whatever path or journey or whatever you want to call it that you're working towards, thinking that things are going well, but then all of a sudden there's a slight hiccup in the road and things just kind of fall flat. There's also different types of education that you can think about, and it doesn't all need to be paid for. Sometimes the best support you can get is from a contact, a friend, someone in your network who's just a couple of steps ahead of you and isn't looking for any financial gain but just wants to give something back. And as such, they'll give you the advice, the support, and the insights that you need to help you get to that next step. If you do want something more formal though, I think there are 3 things that you need to keep in mind before you make any investment into any sort of education. The first is a kind of self-assessment. You need to make sure that you are ready for education. You're ready to move up to that next step. And for this, you need to check a couple of things. First of all, you need to check that you've got the resources to be able to invest. There is no point spending money on education if what you're educating yourself on isn't feasible for you in the current situation that you're in. Now, when we talk about the resources that you need for property, there are 3 that we always refer back to. The first is time. This is not something that you can do on a passive level. Yes, at some point you can bring in a team and things do get more passive, but in the short term it is a very hands-on investment strategy. The second is money, and again, we don't really advocate no money down options. Yes, they exist, but they are not as easy as a lot of people make out, and we think that you do need a certain level of capital to be able to invest successfully. And the third is knowledge. Now, obviously, education can help you pick up this knowledge, but you also need to have some awareness of what you're getting yourself in for before you start to make that investment. Aside from that, you also need to know that property is actually going to get you towards your goals. There's no point spending the next 5 or 10 years in this long-term investment strategy, only to get to the end of it and realize that your goals were nothing to do with what you've been able to achieve. So you really need to make sure that property is going to get you where you want to go. If you take a look at that and you realize that yes, property is the right strategy for you, and yes, you do have the resources needed to make a success of it, then the second thing you need to check is that you find the right person to educate you. Now, finding someone who is just a little bit ahead of you isn't going to work. They might have more success and they might have signs of the success that you want to achieve, but if they haven't lived through that success for long enough and been sufficiently far enough ahead of you, you might face a roadblock before they do, and they're not going to be able to help you get over that. But equally, you don't want to go too far the other direction. Looking at a ski resort, it's absolutely pointless to have an Olympic athlete teaching the little ones how to ski. He's got too much knowledge and he probably has forgotten what it's like to first be learning how to ski. If you're interested in slalom or ski jumping, yes, that Olympian is going to be perfect, but as you're putting your skis on for the first time, it is a complete waste of your time and money and his knowledge. So when you're looking for someone, make sure that they not only have the sufficient experience to help you get to that next level, but also that it's relevant enough to today's market. If they've built their portfolio 20 years ago, that's probably not going to work out for you. And then the third thing I'd suggest for you to keep in mind is the style and the format of teaching. Now, we all like to learn in different ways, and there is also a huge abundance of free information out there in a bunch of different formats. You've got podcasts, you've got social media profiles where people are sharing real good, insightful knowledge. You've got a bunch of websites and blogs and YouTube channels where you can pick up a lot of the basics at no cost. But if you get to the stage where you actually want to invest money in education, you need to look at the format and the style almost as much as the actual content itself. I've said this so many times before, but property really is a long-term game, and trying to cram enough knowledge for a property strategy that's going to span 5 or 10 years into a 2-day course, in a lot of cases I think just doesn't work. That can be perfect for something that you're putting into practice straight away, like maybe project management or financing, understanding one specific aspect of the property investment strategy or business. But trying to teach you everything that you need to know about HMOs or serviced accommodation over the course of 2 days, when you might not be putting that into practice for 6 or 12 months or even longer, to me just doesn't sit right. So that's where things like online education comes to the fore. You've also got to think about whether you want one-on-one support, group support, or you're happy to go down the self-study route. And all of these different options are available for you. So it comes down to what you want, but it also comes down to what is right for the information that you are trying to take on board. So you got to keep in mind that education isn't right for everyone. The education that's on offer isn't always the best for you or the best generally. Unfortunately, there is a lot of bad information out there. And you've got to make sure that you understand that education isn't going to get you there in its own right. It may help you get there quicker, it may help you do things in a slightly better way, but you're still going to have to put in the work. So don't look at education or investing in a mentor or a coach as some silver bullet that's going to make you rich overnight without you actually getting your hands dirty. It just doesn't work like that. I mentioned at the start of this video that part of the reason we're out in North America is because we're heading down to San Diego. So once this ski trip is over, we're going to be jumping in the car and heading down to social media marketing world. And although social media and branding isn't necessarily at the front of mind for everyone, I know a lot of you are interested in that sort of stuff, so we'll keep you posted with how we get on there as well. That's it for now though. We're going to go and enjoy this amazing weather. It has been snowing all week, as you can probably see in the background. We're excited to get out there and have a blast with our family, and we'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks.